Some people hear Zhong and think it means good enough. Not too hot, not too cold. Not too left, not too right. You stir and stir until nothing is clear anymore. But that old text from 2,000 years ago opens differently. Before joy, anger, sorrow, and delight are aroused, that is called equilibrium. Once they rise, and each lands in proper measure, that is called harmony. It is not talking about mediocrity. It is talking about measure. Before emotion surfaces, there is a steady place inside you. When emotion surfaces, every beat lands where it should. Equilibrium is like the balance point on a scale. Not no stance at all. A stance you can actually hold. Let this question sit with you for now. The words you replay at night, has equilibrium tilted? Or has harmony not found its beat? Good evening. This is Bedside Book Voice. Tonight we are reading the Doctrine of the Mean. If you are already lying down, dim the lamp a little more. Set the phone farther away. Pull the blanket up. This book is even shorter than the Great Learning, about 3,000 characters in the original. Yet Zhu Xi placed it among the 4 books, beside the Analects and Mencius. It is not like the Analects, full of dialogue. It is not like Mencius, full of thundering debate. It is like someone in a deep night, slowly adjusting a lamp. Not brightness for show. What is fitting? Fitting means words at the right weight. Deeds at the right pace. Stopping at the right moment. You need not memorize the whole text tonight. You need not carve achieving harmony into your pillow. Just follow my voice. Here a wisdom people have misunderstood for too long how to find, in daily life, a sense of measure that neither leans, nor overshoots, nor hides. If you fall asleep halfway, that is all right. Measure does not vanish. I will not mind. The history of the Doctrine of the Mean resembles the Great Learning. At first it was not a separate book at all. It was one chapter inside the Book of Rites. The chapter title was simply The Mean. In the Southern Song, Zhu Xi grouped it with the Great Learning, the Analects, and Mencius into the 4 books. It became required reading for anyone entering Confucian learning. Zhu Xi also wrote the commentary on the Mean. He divided the original into sections and added notes so later readers would have a path. So what you hear tonight includes both the old preaching text and the lamps Zhu Xi lit along the way. We are not running a court case about authorship. We are following one thread in the words, how a person finds equilibrium and harmony amid emotion, relationship, and choice. Tradition assigns the text to Zisi. His given name was Ji. His courtesy name Zisi. He was Confucius's grandson. Confucius's son was Conli, courtesy name Boyu. Boyu fathered Ji. That line from Confucius to Zisi runs like a single thread. The records of the grand historian does not tell us much about Zisi's life. But it says he wrote the Mean, and later ages mostly believed it. Whether Zisi wrote every line with his own hand, scholars still debate. Some think later Ru followers compiled it. Some think several warring states masters wrote together. Tonight we will not chase signatures. We will chase the temperament in the text, sincerity, equilibrium, harmony. If Zisi truly wrote, he probably was not writing exam answers. He was writing bedside words. The Mean opens with 3 lines. What heaven mandates is called nature. Following nature is called the way. Cultivating the way is called teaching. Do not let the old language frighten you. Heaven's mandate, you can read that as what you were given at birth. Nature is your inborn self. Following nature means walking with it, not against it. The way is the path. Cultivating the way means walking that path clearly. Teaching means helping others walk it clearly too. 3 sentences chained together. You already have something inside. Follow it, and that is the way. Clarify the way, and you can teach. Before sleep, you especially need following nature. Not indulgence. Not twisting yourself into knots. Twist, and the night replays. Follow not by chasing every desire on your phone, but by admitting, I am actually tired. I should stop. Next come the most famous lines in the whole book. Before joy, anger, sorrow, and delight are aroused, that is called equilibrium. Once aroused, and each in its proper measure, that is called harmony. Equilibrium is the great root of the world. Harmony is the great way of the world. When equilibrium and harmony are fully realized, heaven and earth take their places and all things flourish. Before the 4 emotions rise, there is equilibrium, a place inside not yet filled by emotion. Once they rise, each in proper measure, that is harmony. Equilibrium is the root. Harmony is the path that reaches through. Achieve both, and heaven and earth each hold their place. All things each find their place. You might laugh, I am not heaven and earth. What has this to do with me? Well, the heaven and earth inside your heart also need their places. Sleep when it is time to sleep. Stop when it is time to stop. Speak when speaking fits. Stay silent when silence fits. Equilibrium and harmony are the prescription bedtime lacks most. Equilibrium is not the middle. Some read the mean as compromise, pleasing both sides, offending neither. The original does not mean that. Equilibrium means not leaning. Neither leaning into joy nor into anger. Neither into hardness nor into softness. Like cooking. Salt not too much, not too little. Fire not too high, not too low. Not flavorless, flavor just right. If one thing from your day keeps replaying, equilibrium has often tilted. Either you pressed too hard and pretended fine, or you let go too fully and handed your whole self to emotion. Equilibrium and harmony mean finding that just right. The text also says, the noble person in the mean is the noble person who hits the right moment. The petty person in the mean is the petty person who has no restraint. The noble person practices the mean through timely equilibrium, staying in the fitting place moment by moment. The petty person practices the mean through unrestraint, no guardrails, do as you please. Same words, Zhong, opposite readings for noble and petty. The noble person has timely equilibrium. The petty person has no restraint. Your night replay is sometimes noble, I want to find what fits. Sometimes petty, no one sees me. I'll think it through once more. Timely equilibrium knows when to stop. Unrestraint cannot stop. Sincerity is another pillar of the mean. The original says, sincerity is the way of heaven. Becoming sincere is the way of humankind. Sincerity is how heaven runs, no deceit, no emptiness. Becoming sincere is the human path toward that. Later, from sincerity comes clarity. That is nature. From clarity comes sincerity. That is teaching. From sincerity to clarity is your inborn light. From clarity back to sincerity is the path of cultivation. For bedside book voice, sincerity at bedtime means not lying to yourself. Tired, say tired. Regretful, say regretful. Do not use 5 more minutes of scrolling to lie, I don't really want sleep. Sincerity opens the window. Deceit shuts it, and the room grows stuffy. The book speaks of choosing what is good and holding firmly to it. Choosing good means choosing what is good. Holding firmly does not mean stubbornness in the ugly sense. It means keeping hold. Once chosen, you guard it. Many insomniacs have too much choosing good and too little holding firm. You know early sleep helps, yet you do not hold to it. You know less replay helps, yet you do not hold to it. Holding firm is not drilling into a corner. It is gently keeping what you chose because it is good for you. Gentle holding suits bedtime better than violent self-correction. The way of the noble person is like traveling far, you must begin from what is near. Like climbing high, you must begin from what is low. A long road starts from your feet. A high climb starts from the ground. This echoes the great learning's 8 steps. But the mean stresses measure more, not skipping levels, but stepping one by one, each step fitting. You need not achieve sainthood tonight. Begin from what is near. Near means this breath in, out, and telling yourself, I can stop now. The mean has a beautiful line. The kite flies to the height of heaven. The fish leaps in the deep pool. The bird belongs in sky. The fish belongs in water. Each in its fitting place. Not the bird trying to outdo the fish in depth. Not the fish trying to outdo the bird in height. Each where it belongs. If you spend the day comparing who rises faster, who sleeps better, who looks more successful, the night may turn into a bird wishing it were a fish wishing it were a bird. Equilibrium and harmony mean allowing yourself to be where you belong, without reckless jumping. There is also supremely enlightened, yet the way is the mean. The most enlightened person walks the mean, not putting on airs, but great skill looks like clumsiness. True depth often looks like nothing much. Few words. No chaos. Emotions that do not explode. If you always feel not enlightened enough, the mean wants to tell you something. Enlightenment is sometimes fitting, not astonishing. Astonishing often steals sleep. Fitting often brings it. Review the old and gain the new, then you may teach. That line appears in the Analects too. The mean quotes it again to stress the cycle. Sincerity brings clarity, clarity brings sincerity. Reviewing the old is not dead memorization. It is gently turning old experience over at night and asking whether anything new appears. The new need not be huge. That thing today, I can stop here, is enough. Stopping is teacher. Not stopping is the disciple running after emotion. The mean teaches the 9 standards: cultivate the person, honor the worthy, be affectionate to kin, respect great ministers, be considerate to the multitude, treat the people as children, summon artisans, be gentle to distant people, cherish the feudal lords. 9 threads, like the warp of governing a state. You can shrink them. Cultivate the person is the nearest thread. Honor the worthy means respecting those who know more. Be affectionate to kin means warmth toward family. Be considerate to the multitude and treat the people as children mean compassion for ordinary people. You need not do all 9 tonight. Begin with cultivate the person, and sleep is part of the person. The book also teaches the 5 relationships: ruler and minister, father and son, husband and wife, elder and younger sibling, friend and friend. 5 pairs, each with its fitting duty. Respect where respect belongs. Closeness where closeness belongs. Trust where trust belongs. Couples quarrel when duty tilts, not stopping when stopping fits, not speaking when speaking fits. Equilibrium and harmony in relationship mean finding the fitting in each bond. Fitting is not perfection. It is one fewer wounding sentence. One more, I was too heavy just now. Study widely, inquire carefully, think deeply, discern clearly, practice earnestly. 5 steps, like a scholar's ladder. Study widely, not hoarding facts, but willing to learn. Inquire, willing to ask. Think deeply, willing to reflect. Discern clearly, willing to sort. Practice earnestly, willing to act. Before sleep you can do half of think deeply. One matter, think it through, then stop. Think through does not mean think forever. It means think until I can sleep now. The mean and the great learning relate like two dimensions on one map. The great learning teaches sequence, what comes first, what after. Investigate things, extend knowledge, make intentions sincere, rectify the heart, cultivate the person, regulate the family, govern the state, bring peace to the world. The mean teaches how each step stays within measure, not leaning, not missing the beat, not lacking sincerity, not missing timely equilibrium. If you have read the great learning, treat the 8 steps as the vertical axis and the mean as the horizontal. The vertical tells direction. The horizontal tells force. Too much force, and the vertical path is wasted. Zisi and Confucius were grandfather and grandson. The Analects records Confucius speaking with Boyu about poetry and ritual. If Zisi inherited that line, he may have been writing how a grandfather's words land at night. Landing is not slogans. It is, was there one place today where I was more sincere with family? One place where I was more balanced with emotion? More balanced does not mean colder. It means steadier. Steady is sleep's friend. In history, the Cheng brothers valued the mean. Zhu Xi raised it into the 4 books. Wang Yangming spoke of extending innate knowing, which echoes sincerity. You need not chase school wars. Every school says something like keep the heart sincere, keep conduct in equilibrium. Sincerity and equilibrium are pillow practices. Practice need not happen by day. Once before sleep counts. Here is one core idea, let us unfold equilibrium a little more. Equilibrium is the place before joy, anger, sorrow, and delight are aroused. Not aroused does not mean no emotion. It means emotion has not yet filled you completely. Filled is replay until 3 in the morning. Not yet filled means a little space remains to breathe. You can try this. Lie down and ask, am I not yet aroused, or already aroused? If already aroused, practice proper measure, 1 fewer harsh sentence, 1 fewer pass through the old account. Proper measure is where harmony begins. Harmony comes next. Harmony is expression in proper measure. Proper measure is like music, you do not shout on the wrong beat. If words leave your mouth and regret follows, the beat was wrong. Heavy when light was needed. Rushing when pause was needed. Before sleep, slow the beat. Slow is not late. Slow is harmony. Harmony means moving in time with the bed. Then there is achieving equilibrium and harmony. Achieve does not mean perfection. It means reaching I can sleep. I can sleep means heaven and earth inside you each hold their place, body in bed, heart at rest, tomorrow's matters left for tomorrow. Achieving is tonight's small goal. Small goals suit blankets better than grand ideals. Timely equilibrium is another piece. Timely equilibrium means staying in the fitting place moment by moment. Fitting shifts. Push in the morning, gather in at night. Hard outside, soft at home. Timely equilibrium is not one rule for every situation. It is this moment, this place, this person, what fits. With your child and with your boss, equilibrium differs. With sleep and with replay, equilibrium differs. Different is not hypocrisy. It is measure. Sincerity again, because it bears repeating. Sincerity is not self-deception. The most common bedtime self-deception, I don't want sleep yet, when your eyes already ache. I'm fine, when your heart is already tangled. Sincerity is admitting. Admitting is not weakness. It clears space for equilibrium and harmony. Space cleared, harmony can enter. Choose good and hold firmly. Choose what is good for your sleep, your relationships, your heart. Hold firmly means once chosen, do not let emotion overturn it easily. Overturn sounds like, never mind, I'll replay it once more in my head. Not overturn sounds like enough. Here. Enough is the means word for the insomniac. Travel far from what is near. Climb high from what is low. Far is achieving equilibrium and harmony. Near is the next breath. You need not begin as a sage. Begin with one fewer replay tonight. Low does not mean self-contempt. It means starting from the ground. The ground is admitting, today I only got this far. This far can be sleep. The kite flies. The fish leaps. Each in its fitting place is not comparison. Comparison is the bird envying the fish envying the bird. Equilibrium and harmony mean the bird flies in sky, the fish leaps in water. If you always feel you should be somewhere else, the mean says, first see where you are. Where you are, stand there 1 second. 1 second, then sleep. The mean has a passage on how Shun learned the mean. Shun loved to question and loved to examine words close at hand. He concealed what was bad and displayed what was good. He grasped the two extremes and used the middle for the people. Shun loved asking. He loved hearing nearby voices. He hid evil and lifted good. He held both ends and used the middle toward the people. Holding both ends and using the middle is not stirring mud. It is seeing both poles and still choosing what fits. If you swing between two choices by day and replay at night, you often see only one end, not both. See both ends, then use the middle. Use the middle, then stop. There is also, we chose the mean. Gaining one good, he clasped it to his chest and would not lose it. Yen we chose the mean. Find one good, hold it close like something pressed to the heart. Pressed to the heart is not for display. It is for yourself. I know what is good for me, and I guard it. Guarding includes guarding sleep. Guarding sleep is also a good held close. Balancing the realm may be done. Rank and salary may be declined. Bare blades may be walked upon. The mean cannot be fully reached. Some read that as the mean is hardest. Some read it as the mean is not casual, you must practice. Balancing realms, declining honors, walking on blades, people have done these. The mean, fewer people fully reach. Not because it towers unreachable. Because people lean, overshoot, and lose restraint easily. Practice can begin with one stop before sleep. That counts as entry. The mean also speaks of the noble person's hidden and visible life. The way cannot be separated from you. What can be separated is not the way. The noble person is watchful where he is not seen, cautious where he is not heard. Unseen, unheard, not fear of ghosts, but fear of the heart wandering off. Small wandering by day returns at night. Return is replay. Watchfulness means fewer wanderings. Fewer wanderings is not tension. It is self-respect. Also, nothing is more visible than what is hidden. Nothing is more manifest than what is subtle. Therefore, the noble person is careful in solitude. The most visible place is the hidden place. The clearest place is the subtle place. So the noble person is careful when alone. Alone means you alone. Scrolling alone, replaying alone, that is the field of hidden and subtle. Care is not fear. It is asking this move, does it fit? If not, stop. Stopping is the fruit of care in solitude. The text teaches equilibrium and harmony giving place and nurture. When equilibrium and harmony are achieved, heaven and earth take their places and all things flourish. Place means position. Nurture means growth. When the heart holds equilibrium and harmony, each matter finds its place. Growth becomes possible. Nurture includes sleep's nurture, sleep enough, and tomorrow can grow. Growth is not motion at 3 a.m. It is motion in daylight tomorrow. Leave motion for tomorrow. Zhu Xi's commentary on the mean stresses nature is principle and sincerity is sagehood. You need not master all Neo-Confucianism. Know this, Zhu Xi read the mean as a path from sincerity toward sagehood. The path is long, but the beginning is always sincerity. Sincerity is one true sentence to yourself tonight. True need not be loud. Compared with Mencius, Mencius loves debate. Thunder in the voice. The mean loves adjustment. Voice like a scale. A scale suits bedtime, it does not strike you. It weighs light and heavy. Light and heavy is measure. Compared with Zhuangzi, Zhuangzi loves wandering. The mean loves settling. Wandering needs settling. Settling is not death. It is wander until the place to stop, then stop. Stopping is equilibrium and harmony. Compared with the Tao Te Ching, Laozi teaches holding the center. The mean teaches achieving equilibrium and harmony. One holds, one reaches. Holding means not running wild. Reaching means pushing to what fits. Fitting includes sleep. Compared with vegetable roots talk, vegetable roots teaches resting in lightness. The mean teaches resting in harmony. Lightness is fewer waves. Harmony is waves that rise without wild beating. Waves are emotion. Not wild beating is proper measure. A few often quoted lines, to keep by your pillow. The mean says, love of learning is close to wisdom. Earnest practice is close to benevolence. Knowing shame is close to courage. Know these three, and you know how to cultivate the person. Love learning, willing action, knowing shame, close to wisdom, benevolence, courage. Know the three, know self-cultivation. Cultivation need not be grand. Tonight, scold yourself one time fewer, that is knowing shame. Replay one time fewer, that is earnest practice. Ask once, was I in proper measure? That is love of learning. In archery there is something like the noble person. Missing the mark, he turns and seeks the cause in himself. Missing the target, look to your own form. Turning inward is not self-torment until 3 a.m. It is asking this beat, where did I lean? Leaned, adjust. Adjust is not scolding. Adjust is searching. Searching beats replaying others. Searching is closer to sleep. In all things, preparation establishes. Lack of preparation ruins. Prepare, and you can stand. Fail to prepare, and things collapse. Before sleep you can also prepare. Prepare a stopping time. Prepare one sentence, enough. Prepare one deep breath. Prepare is not anxious planning. It is leaving room for equilibrium and harmony. Room left, harmony can enter. The sincere person hits the mark without effort, grasps without hard thinking, easily walks the way that is sagehood. Sincerity deep enough needs no forcing to hit the mark, no grinding to grasp, walks the way with ease, that is the sage. We are not sages. We can move a little toward ease. Ease is not giving up. Ease is twisting less against yourself. Twist is insomnia. Less twist is timely equilibrium. Becoming sincere means choosing what is good and holding firmly to it. We said it before. One line more in the mean, holding firmly is praise. It means guarding the good without letting go. Guarding is not guarding the past. It is guarding what helps sleep, relationships, and honest self-respect. 1 point guarded is enough. From sincerity comes clarity, that is nature. From clarity comes sincerity, that is teaching. From sincerity to clarity is nature shining. From clarity to sincerity is the path of teaching. Both roads reach sincere clarity.
If you can only walk one tonight, walk sincerity, sincere that I am tired, clear that I should sleep.
That is enough. The latter part of the mean has passages where Confucius praises Shun, Yin Hui, Yu, King Wen, King Wu like short portraits one after another. You need not memorize names. Remember the structure. Sages are models of sincerity, equilibrium, harmony. Models are not meant to make you anxious. I can never do that. Models show direction. You take one step tonight. One step is timely equilibrium.
Also, he traced Yao and Shun, took Wen and Wu as his pattern, aligned with heaven above, followed earth and water below.
Confucius carried the past forward.
Align above, follow below, not flattery, but fitting.
Heaven's timing includes night's measure. Earth and water include the body's measure.
When the body says sleep, you align with the hour.
Fail to align, and you lean.
Only the most sage person can be wise and discerning enough to preside.
Broad and gentle enough to contain. The most sage can oversee and can hold. Contain is not no principle. It is room in the heart. Room is replay's opposite. Replay fills the heart tight. Contain clears a little space.
Space is the home of not yet aroused.
Not yet aroused is where equilibrium lives.
The odes say, I cherish bright virtue. Not with loud voice or stern color. Bright virtue in the heart needs no shouting, no scowling. Before sleep, if you can still treat family without loud voice or stern face, that is equilibrium and harmony.
If the day was loud, do not replay the loudness at night. First sincerity, then stop. Stop is bright virtue. What the noble person cannot be matched in is probably what others do not see.
What makes the noble person hard to catch up with is likely what happens unseen.
Unseen is care in solitude. Right is timely equilibrium. Choices made alone look most like the real you. Real need not be perfect. Real must be sincere. We are about halfway through. In this breath between sections, one small favor.
If this voice kept you company tonight, tap like and subscribe, like leaving a lamp on for me in the dark.
No need to sit up. One finger is enough. Good. We continue.
In the second half I will gather in that opening question equilibrium tilted or harmony missing and bring measure back into your blanket.
Back to the opening. The words you replay, is equilibrium tilted or harmony missing? My read, often both. Equilibrium tilted, so harmony cannot be found.
Tilted equilibrium means that not yet aroused place is full.
Full expression cannot find proper measure. Improper measure, replay. Replay is a broken beat. Broken does not mean hopeless.
It means you need achieving equilibrium and harmony, not sainthood, but I can stop.
I can stop is tonight's harmony.
If Zisi saw modern people, he might say you read the mean as mediocrity because you read equilibrium too narrow. Equilibrium is the great root of the world, not good enough.
Good enough is the petty person's unrestraint. Timely equilibrium is the noble person's measure. Measure includes sleep's measure. What hour is equilibrium? What hour is still replay, that is leaning?
Lean, do not scold yourself.
Adjust. Adjust is the means verb. For the young, heartbreak, job loss, being misunderstood, first ask sincerity. Am I lying that I don't care? Then ask equilibrium. Am I not yet aroused, or already aroused? If aroused, ask harmony. Does this beat fit?
Fitting includes tonight stops here. For those who always feel not good enough, the mean says achieving equilibrium and harmony lets all things flourish.
Flourishing needs time and place. Place includes the bed.
The bed is not the loser's end. It is where growth begins. Beginning starts with closing the eyes. For those who love comparison, the kite flies to heaven.
The fish leaps in the deep, each in its fitting place.
You need not become the bird tonight, nor the fish.
Tonight you are a person lying down. Lying down is also a place. Place settled, then nurture. Nurture, we talk tomorrow.
For those who love planning, travel far, you must begin from what is near.
Far goals start from near steps.
Near can mean one fewer replay tonight.
One fewer is also choose good and hold firmly. Holding firmly is not forcing perfection. It is guarding that one sentence, enough. Enough is equilibrium and harmony's password.
Another common night, harsh words by day, regret by night.
Regret is sincerity ringing. Ringing is good news.
Bad news is regret turning into replay that misses proper measure when stopping fits.
Stop is not refusing to make amends. Amends can wait for tomorrow's sentence. Tonight, stop first. Stop is timely equilibrium.
Versions of the mean exist. Zhu Xi's edition shaped history most.
Old and modern texts differ slightly in wording. Tonight we skip version wars.
Every version says sincerity, equilibrium, harmony.
Sincerity is the window. Equilibrium is the scale. Harmony is the beat. Beat right, sleep draws near.
The book's temperament can be gathered in two words, timely equilibrium.
Timely equilibrium, fitting moment by moment.
Fitting includes sleeping at a fitting hour, leaving fitting words for tomorrow, holding expectations that do not crush you.
Crushing is leaning. Not crushing is equilibrium. Equilibrium is not no ambition. It is ambition with measure.
Measure is what bedside book voice most wants to leave you from the mean.
Han Yingming wrote vegetable roots talk to help you rest in lightness. The Zisi tradition's mean helps you rest in harmony. Lightness is like the blanket. Harmony is like the breath. Breath even, blanket warm. If you want both, by day ask with the mean, does this beat fit? By night ask with vegetable roots, can this thought lighten a little? Asked, you may sleep.
In marriage, use harmony.
Before words leave your mouth, ask whether this beat fits. Fitting is not swallowing everything.
It is what fits, soft when soft, firm when firm, but not shouting on the wrong beat.
With children, use sincerity.
Be sincere with the child and with yourself. Tired, admit tired. Do not cover tiredness with shouting.
Covering is fuel for replay.
With yourself, use care in solitude.
Replaying alone, ask, does this fit? If not, stop. Stop is the mean's first prescription for modern life. No need to fetch medicine. Fetch timely equilibrium. Timely equilibrium includes this moment, sleep. The mean's common English titles are Doctrine of the Mean or Equilibrium. You need not read English scholarship.
Know this mean here is not mean-spirited.
It is the middle way. The middle way is not no stance.
It is a stance held steady, without overshooting.
Overshooting steals sleep. Steady brings it. If you love keeping lines, take 3.
Before joy, anger, sorrow, and delight are aroused, that is equilibrium, understand not yet aroused. Once aroused, each in proper measure, that is harmony, understand proper measure. Achieving equilibrium and harmony, heaven and earth take their places, all things flourish, understand achieve.
Achieve tonight as far as sleep. Sleep is also one kind of flourishing.
If you fear falling behind, timely equilibrium says, fitting is not first place.
Fitting is this moment, this place, right. Right includes sleep right. Sleep right, tomorrow can keep pace. Keeping pace is not at 3 a.m. It is tomorrow.
If you have heard the great learning, you remember knowing where to stop. The mean teaches stopping also needs proper measure. Stop at the fitting place, not at escape.
Escape is the petty person's unrestraint. Fitting stop is the noble person's timely equilibrium.
If you have heard the Analects, you remembered going too far is as bad as not going far enough. The mean is the long version of those 8 words. Long suits the pillow, slowly heard.
A few strokes to stitch sincerity and equilibrium into daily life. On the commute, use timely equilibrium.
Push when pushing fits, yield when yielding fits, but do not vent on the wrong beat.
Coming home, use harmony.
Adjust the beat of outside to the beat of home.
Adjust is not pretending. It is fitting. Calling parents, use sincerity. If you do not want to talk, be sincere, I'm tired today. Let's talk another day. Sincerity beats forcing yourself and fits harmony better. Arguing with a partner, use grasp both ends, use the middle. See your reason and theirs. Land one sentence in proper measure. Landing beats winning. Winning often replays. Landing often sleeps. With children, use kite and fish. The child need not become you tonight. You need not become the perfect parent tonight. Each in fitting place means allowing today to end it. I did not shout a second time. Not shouting twice is also harmony. With yourself, use turn and seek the cause in yourself. Replaying, ask less why did they do that, more where did I lean on this beat. Lean found adjust. Adjust need not reach sagehood. Adjust to I can sleep. The mean is also criticized as too ideal. The criticism has a point. If you only chant achieving harmony without sincere intention, it becomes slogan. So tonight we stress equilibrium and harmony are direction, not chains. Direction says do not lean, do not overshoot, do not lose restraint. How fast you walk, you decide. Deciding includes tonight, here is enough. Some read the mean as smooth talk. Smooth talk is the petty person's unrestraint. Timely equilibrium is the noble person's measure. Measure sometimes hard, sometimes soft. Hard and soft both follow this moment. This moment, sleep, soften. Soft is not no principle. Soft is guarding sleep. Guarding sleep is self-cultivation among the 9 standards. After Emperor Wu honored Confucian learning, the mean entered daily reading through the classics in 4 books. In modern times some use it for harmony, some for balance. Many readings, one root, sincerity, equilibrium, harmony. Pick one to practice. Practice need not be by day. Once before sleep counts. Compared with instructions for practical living, that book teaches training the heart in affairs. The mean teaches when the heart holds timely equilibrium, affairs find proper measure. Heart first, affairs after. Heart sincere, affairs harmonious. Next time we read instructions for practical living, you will hear how Wan Yangming lands sincerity in action. Tonight, let the heart rest in equilibrium and harmony a moment. Compared with Liufan's 4 lessons, Liufan speaks of changing fate. The mean speaks of following nature and cultivating the way. Fate can be discussed. Nature must be sincere. Sincerity is the ground beneath changing fate. Ground includes being honest, tonight I need sleep. Need is not weakness. Need is timely equilibrium. We are near the end. You need not remember shun, you, win, woo. Remember replay is leaning, stop is timely equilibrium, sincerity is the window, harmony is the beat. Beat right, sleep draws near. Near, no need to thank me. Thank yourself for trying enough once tonight.
If you wake remembering one word, I hope it is timely equilibrium. This moment, this place, fitting is enough. Fitting includes setting the phone down, turning the lamp off, allowing yourself not to solve your whole life tonight. Before good night, one small question. The thing you replayed most tonight, do you think equilibrium tilted, or harmony missed?
No rush to answer now. After you wake, tell me in the comments. I read every one. If you like nights like this, subscribe and tap the bell so on the next sleepless evening I can find you again. Next time we can read instructions for practical living. The great learning maps steps. The mean maps measure. Instructions for practical living maps the heart, how to practice in affairs without exhausting the heart. Heart not exhausted, sleep draws near.
The mean has one line I leave for tonight's closing.
The way cannot be separated from us even for an instant. What can be separated is not the way.
The way, not for a moment apart.
What can be apart is not the way.
You need not become a sage tonight. Only do not separate from sleep, from honesty, from I can stop.
I can stop is timely equilibrium. Timely equilibrium is giving yourself a little harmony.
Harmony need not shine for the whole world.
Shine into the blanket, and that is enough. Let the lamp stay dim. The scale lives in the heart.
You need not calibrate it in one night.
Tomorrow you will be human again. Tonight be the lightest part of human, a person lying down. If Zisi saw you, he might say that is enough. Set replay down. Leave tomorrow for tomorrow. Sleep well. Good dreams to you tonight. See you in the pages tomorrow morning. One last gathering in. You need not become Zisi or Zhu Xi. You need only become the self willing to practice timely equilibrium tonight. Timely equilibrium is not slacking. It is setting down the force that would replay until 3 a.m. Replay can wait for tomorrow's adjustment. Tonight, adjust sleep first. Sleep is also one harmony in the mean. This is Bedside Book Voice. Good night, see you in the pages.